Hey guys, it's Ghost here, and I'm here with Yacine. How are you doing today, my friend?
What's good, man? Everything's good. Thank you so much. How about you?
I'm doing great. I first off, I wanted to congratulate you on your victories, topping with my Mathmech at YCS Philly. What
Thank you
would,
so much. I really appreciate it.
did you break it all at all during any of your matches?
I definitely bricked a few times, yeah. But the funny thing is, I think only one of my losses was because of a brick.
Oh, okay. Well, how do you feel about Mathmech going forward in the current format, especially post ban list? Sorry about circular, by the way.
So, it's funny because a lot of people are asking me this question because everybody knows that I'm playing Mathmech now, but I don't really have like any emotional attachment to Mathmech. It's not like Cyber Dragon to me, so I don't really care too much because I don't really plan on playing the deck. But if I had to keep playing the deck, honestly, I wouldn't care because for YCS Philadelphia, I only played one Silent Mining, and obviously with three circular, if we go into the new format losing two circulars, all we really have to do is just add two more Silent Minings, and we're pretty much good to go. So consistency-wise, we're not really losing much, honestly.
You think it'll still be like a meta contender or maybe like a high tier road contender going forward?
100% top tier meta contender. The one issue is that it doesn't really have the best Despia matchup because, you know, sending a bunch of cards your opponent controls doesn't matter that much when your opponent only really needs one card to play, and you're almost never really getting rid of like spells and traps your opponent controls against Despia unless they start like immediately with like Branded Lost or something. But it's pretty bad going first and second, honestly, against Despia. So
It doesn't
it's
really have
definitely
the
not the best
best
thing.
interaction with that deck in particular.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, you don't want to send Mirror Jane to grave.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
What made you choose Mathmech over the other decks in the format during YCS Philly?
So that's a good question because I didn't want to play Kashtira or Super Heavy Samurai at all because both of these decks, everybody respects them and everybody knows how to play them and also counter them. So Kashtira mirror matches, I just don't really see how there is any skill in them at all. Super Heavy Samurai just loses too hard to draw, and I didn't really want to deal with that. And then for the other decks, I mean, Labyrinth is a decent deck, but I already played at YCS Lima in Peru, and it wasn't bad at all, but unless I play the furniture build, I would pretty much always lose to Kashtira. The furniture build, though, has a decent Kashtira matchup, but I didn't want to play the furniture build of Labyrinth because, again, everybody is playing it. So I just wanted to play something a little different because if nobody knows how to counter Mathmech, then I can just steal some games that I have no business winning, and that's actually what ended up happening.
It's like people were prepared less for circular, for super factorial, for access codes. They're preparing for 10 zone lock or rise hard pass or set 5
Yeah.
evenly matched pass. So it just felt like a better option for you. And I
Yeah,
completely understand. I can see the reasoning for not wanting to play cash tier in this format. It's a very straightforward deck, and it does feel more fragile than most tier 1 decks we've had to deal with.
absolutely. Yeah, and again, I'm also in a decent position to talk about Kashtira because it's another deck that I played at a YCS, YCS Las Vegas, the 3v3, and my performance was awful. I feel like these kind of, you know, formats, I just don't want to play the most popular deck. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Zodiac format, you know, how Kashtira and Zodiac are somewhat similar. I wasn't really good with Zodiac back then. I was better with like more aggressive 60 card decks. And, you know, at the end of the format, we didn't really have that anymore. Just like we just lost tier elements in favor of Kashtira. So it was kind of a huge downgrade for me when we lost tier elements. Yeah.
Something interesting, speaking on tier limits, it's interesting to see that throughout the tier 0 formats we've been to, it's kind of cool to see how all three Zodiac, tier limits, and Spiral play very differently from each other. The gameplay for each format feels very like, it doesn't feel like the same game, and I've been on this game since 2009, and I forget that it's the same card game I played as a child, all the way back
Yeah,
then.
you're 100% right. Zodiac was like, it almost didn't even look that good because you're not ending on like a huge amount of monsters on like your board. You're really just ending on like Dagusto Emerald, like a Trident, and then like obviously a bunch of back row, but a bunch of cards in hand. And you didn't really need much to get back into the game. So it's really the fact that the deck was extremely self-sufficient So it's really hard to like explain to like a newcomer like to Yu-Gi-Oh like, oh, and by the way, this deck with like very small monsters was broken. And then Spiral and Tearlament, just like you're saying, even though they were both like tier 0, they had like almost nothing in common outside of the fact that they were both combo decks.
I must say, Zodiac still gives me a bit of PTSD to this day. I couldn't stop a 12 material Zeus. I just remember trying to stop it, and he kept just chaining Zeus to my disruptions. So it was not a good day. I completely understand why Zodiac is still a scary deck. Who knows?
I mean, the real spice is a 12 material Borbo.
Who knows? Maybe Konami will make an even more broken tier 0 deck, and Zodiac could come off the list by that point, because Power Creep is just going through the ceiling right now, I must say.
Yeah, Jesus, imagine.
To your viewers, as a competitive player, what would you say is like your best advice to someone who wants to take a game to a higher skill level past their usual levels?
Oh, there's like so many like different advice that I can always give to people. The first one is you need to obviously get out of your comfort zone and not justify every single deck choice that you want to go for by always saying, oh, it fits my playstyle and everything, because the best out of the best, the pro players, they don't really have like any specific playstyle. They just play whatever works. So you have to really know how to play every single deck in a given format, because when you know how to play every single deck, you also know how to counter every single deck. So even though you're obviously at the end of the day only going to be playing one deck in an event, the fact that you know how to play all those decks means that you're going to be even better with that very same deck that you're playing, since you now know how to beat everyone.
You agree to just like, you need to understand the format. Even if you won the dice roll and went first, if you don't know how the meta plays or how the high tier rogue decks play, if you end up disrupting the wrong thing, you're going to get your board broken. You're going to get O2'd in the match.
Yeah.
And speaking on that, I remember like a little quote from DZ. You could take your rogue deck to a YCS. If you topped it, that would be great, but you get no brownie points for taking your favorite rogue deck to a YCS. Not trying to say bad things about any rogue players out there, but you don't get any bonus points. You can play any card in a given format, so long as it's legal. So if you have the ability to, you should play a top tier deck that you personally think has a good chance of competing. That's just gotta be your strategy.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes decks are considered like top tier, like meta and everything, but especially because they're popular, and sometimes like a less popular deck would be classified as rogue, even though the deck is technically really meta. Honestly, the best example was, I don't know if you remember the Tearlaments and Sprite format before Ishizu. Recast and Avalon won Euros undefeated, and before that nobody even thought about Recast and Avalon. So it's crazy how a deck that nobody can even see coming can actually just completely sweep the biggest tournament in a huge continent. So sometimes, even if nobody respects a certain deck, you can still choose to go with it because you understand it so well that you know how to beat like literally the whole field with that very same deck.
You feel like a good pilot can take a decently competitive rogue deck, even if they're not being talked about at all, or their archetype isn't being talked about? If you were a good enough pilot and you understood it, you think you could top a regional or even a YCS?
Sometimes yes, but skill isn't always the only factor. Sometimes the deck itself also has to be good. It's not because you're extremely good that you can play like literally any rogue deck and do well. That rogue deck has to have like a reason to be good in that format.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to play like Phantom Knights during the tier Shizu format.
Yeah, you're not resolving too many graveyard effects.
You could try.
Not gonna work.
No, it's not. To the Mathmech players who are most likely listening into this video, do you think Mathmech is still a good deck to invest in right now with the price it is?
Oh yeah, 100%. You only really have to be afraid of heal drain. There can only be one, and honestly, I'm just gonna say it again, Despia. That's just a really bad matchup for Mathmech. It's terrible. It's the first loss that I had in the YCS. So
was against Branded Despia.
Oh yeah, I got demolished. It's not even close.
I had to deal with Branded Despia like yesterday during a tournament.
Yeah, I want to say it almost got better, honestly. Like Branded Expulsion banned, not enough. Like they have Sanctifier Dragon.
I'm not gonna lie. It's very surprising to see that it survived like so many ban lists. It's like still full powered from like early 2022 till now. Like it has not
Yeah.
gone away.
They must justify it by saying, the deck only loses to like a single Ash. Who cares? We don't have to hit it. Like we'll let Ash do the work, but when you don't have Ash, trust me, Despia is pretty problematic.
When I didn't have, if you don't draw Ash, it's pretty resilient to many other hand traps. To be honest, like
Oh yeah, the
it
other
does.
hand traps are really not that good. Ash is like the only like actual turn skipper and shifter, I guess.
It's you can even play through Shifter. It can dodge an Imperm Veiler, can like set up a board on 4 summons, can make
Yeah.
everything spell speed 4 with Branded Lost.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a judge, so he tells me that every time someone resolves Branded Lost, he knows he's about to get called in. What made you want to be a YouTuber initially? Is it something that you were planning, or did it just like happen all of a sudden for you to get this large audience and following?
So that's another interesting question. And basically, even before I started making videos seriously, I was always making YouTube videos. It's just that I made like a lot of my old videos like unlisted and private because they're really old and they were pretty bad. But I always just liked putting videos on YouTube and just, see what, people thought of, my combos and stuff. They used to be like combo videos without my face, without audio, just like random music or sometimes no music at all. But I just wanted to put it to the next level because I also, that was back in 2018. I was also helping my friend Team Samurai make videos, and he was like, you know what, you're helping me make videos, you might as well just make your own videos and I'm gonna shout you out. And this is like how it started in 2020. We started making collabs together, and I would just be making like combo videos and deck profile. He would be showcasing it on Edo Pro, and then he would be shouting me out, and it was pretty much always the same thing. I break a deck, I show it to him, and we just work together.
And then you just kept making more and more content from there, and it just kind of exploded. When was
Yeah.
when did you start to feel comfortable to like start putting yourself out on camera and speaking more and discussing the metagame videos?
It was like a few months in 2020 because before that, my people could never see my face, but sometimes hear my voice. But obviously, it's not the best quality. I also had like a really bad mic. Now, obviously, I'm using like the same mic as all the the top YouTubers are using. It's the Shure SM7B, which I think is also like the pro podcast mic that you're probably gonna see in like Joe Rogan podcast and everything. So pretty high level, but yeah, I became comfortable relatively quick, but only because I was making daily videos. If I was making like weekly videos or monthly videos, oh, forget it. It would have taken like months and months or maybe years for me to like actually be super comfortable to talk. So practice definitely does make perfect.
I'm still trying to get comfortable with my voice in general. Like it's very different when you listen back to yourself. You think it sounds worse than it actually appears.
I 100% agree. Yeah, this is how I feel about myself.
Also, yes, the microphone is totally sponsored for this. If you're a YouTuber and you want,
Yeah,
go
I'm getting
get
a 20% commission. So yeah, use the coupon code yacine656 for 20% off.
what would you say is your biggest passion for this game? Like, what got you so invested into the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG initially? Was it the anime? Was it the... Did you see
Well,
Joey just
anime
use
really
Time
got
Wizard and you were like, all right, I gotta try this to my friends?
So the anime is the reason why I started playing. Obviously, I think we can all say the same thing. Obviously, as a kid, I just watched like Duelist Kingdom and everything, and I would be trying to like copy Yugi, Kaiba, and everyone. I think this is like the start, but my real passion is definitely deck building. Just my favorite deck has always been Cyber Dragon, and it's that kind of deck where it evolved so much over the years, and it's actually had its legitimate formats where it truly was like a top tier deck. Because contact fusing was so good, so I was like, oh my god, I need to make it work. I need to top a YCS with my childhood dream deck. So I would literally just try to do whatever it took to like make it possible, and I somehow freaking made it. I don't even know, but yeah, Cyber Dragon was like the deck that I spent the most like amount of time on, I think I'm on like at least like 5,000 hours of theory and playtesting on Cyber Dragon, if not more. Just I have to be I had to like spend at least 10,000 hours overall on Yu-Gi-Oh in my life because I've been playing since the very start. But Cyber Dragon was probably like half of it. It's ridiculous.
Are you gonna be the Zane Truesdale of the next format?
My God, we need more support, my man.
He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
Yeah, he absolutely is the GOAT.
I'm still salty as a GX fan that him and Astro Phoenix never had a run back. Or did they have?
Yeah, the rematch, huh? Yeah.
Did they have a rematch?
Hold on a second. I think Aster beat Zane the first time. I forgot.
I know Aster beat Zane the first time, and then Zane got like this super powerful deck, and like they never dueled each other when he came back.
Powerful. It was a downgrade. Every time, get the hell out of here. Cyber Dragon is so much better.
Okay, look, in lore, it was. It was.
In lore, yes. Anime context-wise, sure, I'll let that slide.
Anime context-wise, going -3 is a good thing. Summon.
Oh, that's so true.
I would always remember. I'd like rewatch like old episodes of the anime, and there's like something where Kaiba drew 5, and the opponent was like, "So what? Drawing 5 means nothing." I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean it means nothing?"
Yeah, like they had no strategy in the anime. Like they would have Card of Sanctity with a bunch of spells and traps, and then they would use like Card of Sanctity to draw like 1. I'm like, bro, set all your cards and then use Card of Sanctity.
Power creep has definitely been a thing that's been in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG recently, and it's arguably more prevalent in our game than in any other TCG, to the point where our childhood game is nigh almost unrecognizable. How do you think, being a competitive player, how do you think the game will be in 1 to 2 years' time? And if you were working for Konami, what changes would you add to the game?
This is the kind of question that forces me to like think a lot. There's a lot to digest here. So first of all, yeah, like power creep is a really interesting concept because it's somewhat inevitable, because if there's no power creep, then the game becomes stale and just so incredibly boring that there is no more reason to even play. Like you need a reason to consume the newer product. And the only reason, like the only way to do that is by making the older product somewhat obsolete. Now, obviously, there has to be some form of control over how powerful the new product can be. And I guess the main solution to power creep is more power creep, which is really ironic, but that's kind of how it's working out like right now. They're like, this new deck is overpowered. Oh, I know how to fix it. We're gonna create an even more broken new deck. It's literally that. Or they can like support older decks, which is really interesting. Legacy support, I think Konami has been doing a relatively good job with that. Like, I can think of a bunch of decks that used to be, decent back in the days, but obviously they become garbage after a few years and then become broken, like Monarchs, really good example. And Pendulums, they had like their ups and downs. Like, they were bad for a while and then broken for a while and everything. So it's always seasonal, right? That's how Yu-Gi-Oh is functioning. Has always been functioned in a way. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if I had to work, at Konami. I don't really know what I would be doing to like fix the game. Just it's a more complex issue than we make it out to be.
You're gonna go into Konami and be like, okay, we're gonna make new Cyber Dragon cards every week.
You'd be so biased towards like what I want for myself. Yeah.
A Link 1 Cyber Dragon monster. You can add two Cyber Dragon cards from your deck to your hand. Draw 2.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
You'll make a math. I'm sorry. I'm thinking math thing. I don't know why. Cyber Dragon. You'll have a Cyber Dragon kaiju, but it'll tribute on their side to summon on your side. That's what you do.
Yeah, and it's level 5, and then you can special summon as many Cyber Dragons from your hand deck, graveyard, and binder.
And just make it spell speed 4, because that.
Of course,
yeah.
of course. Otherwise, we're missing out on something. It can get negated otherwise. Even.
Yeah. Last question here. Second to last question here. Do you think we could potentially see a new summoning mechanic from Konami in the future?
It's just a matter of time. I think You always have to like look at the animes that we're getting. Every like 2 or 3, new animes, it's usually gonna be a new summoning mechanic. And now I think it's been like 2 animes in a row where we got nothing, right? Sevens was, hold on a second.
Did Sevens
Go.
end already? Or is it still going?
Forgot, honestly. I'm not even keeping track. I haven't watched like a single episode of anime since Arc 5. Yeah, Arc 5 was Pendulum. So yeah, nothing. Yeah, but I don't know. We're due for like some red cards, honestly.
Yeah.
We had like almost every single color of the rainbow, but not red.
We should make yellow cards next.
Yellow, like normal monsters.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, like that has like try to think of like any color.
I can't
think
believe
it
I forgot
already-
normal monsters exist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not relevant though. Who
No,
cares?
they're not. They're not. Unless you're playing some weird stun control variant. At that point, just
Yeah,
wake
I
up.
mean, yeah, basically.
Okay, last question here. When it comes to YouTube, how do you stay motivated making content daily? And do you have any words for advice for small-time creators trying to make their mark on this platform?
So you gotta almost force yourself to always make 1 video per day, regardless of how hard it is. And sometimes if you feel like you can't make a video a certain day, what you do is you just make videos in bulk. That's what I do. And I always follow like the very same template for, creating videos. So, I would be on like my editing software. I would be like ready to make like a combo video, a deck profile, or, a discussion video or shorts. And I would have like, a template available for all of them so that I would just have to like plug and play and it just works out. And also I think of scripts when I make, let's say, card reviews and something. So I go on like Notepad, I just write whatever I want in like bullet points, and then I just read. And people will obviously never be able to tell that I'm reading in my videos because what I do is right before I say what I'm about to say, like my line, I just read and then I say it. And then obviously I edit out when I make the video. And then I just add a little bit of visual support. I make a thumbnail on Photoshop, which is also very easy to do because it's just like the very same template that I recycled. The only difference is that I change some text, I add some pictures, and that's it, that's all. You just need to like minimize the amount of effort and maximize like quantity of production because quality is gonna come over time. That's not like the main #1 thing that small content creators have to, focus on, but rather just, going through as many videos as possible so that you eventually just develop like the confidence and charisma to like talk to like a camera efficiently.
Okay. Thank you so
And
much.
for me, I want to say, I want to say it's actually, for me, it's a little harder because I think everybody can tell English is not my first language. So I also had to like learn the language like while making videos, which is like an extra level of stress and difficulty. So yeah, I sometimes I know how to say something, but it would be like in French, so I'd be like, oh shit. When I make my video, I have to like translate and everything. It's a little difficult.
Where were you? End of the interview. Where were you born, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
So even though I'm Algerian, like ethnicity-wise, I lived my whole life in Montreal, Canada.
Okay, because one of my old coworkers from years ago was from France, so I could always hear like a little bit of that accent to you.
But it's funny because I don't have a French accent at all, so
I can hear just a little bit, just a little bit of it. It's the hint of
interesting
it.
because French is European. I have really have that Quebec accent, if anything, or very very specifically Montreal.
Oh yeah. Thank you again so much for coming onto my channel and being interviewed. Shout out to you and your YouTube channel. To any Mathmech players who are going to be listening in or watching this video, I will leave a profile down below, and also I'll be sending an email over to Konami to ban Circular.
And especially more Cyber Dragon support.
Yes, of course.
The main object of the email.
I don't dislike Mathmech. I'm not Joshua Schmidt. It just gives me a lot of because I was in an era where my locals where everybody played Mathmech, so it's like all I played for like weeks. So like I kind of grew like I couldn't play it anymore after that. So yeah.
I only played Mathmech once in my life. No locals, no regionals, just one YCS. That's it.
Oh my god. Mathmech
played that
Cyber Dragon
nothing.
profile when?
Yo, imagine.
Okay, well, thank you again for coming on, and once again, my name is Ghost. This is Yacine. Please go check out his channel. I'll leave a link to his socials below. Go give him a like and subscribe, and go check out his Mathmech profile. And if we see any Cyberdragon support in the future, you know where it's coming from. You guys just have an amazing day, Yacine, and stay blessed, my dude.
Thank you so much for having me here, and yeah, take care, guys. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button.